Penguin Random House Canada presents Never Whistle at Night, an Indigenous dark fiction anthology. Are you ready to be unsettled? Edited by Shane Hawk and Theodore C. Van Alst, Jr., with an introduction by Stephen Graham Jones and stories by Norris Black, Amber Blaeser-Wardzala, Phoenix Boudreau, Cherie Dimaline, Carson Faust, Kelli Jo Ford, Kate Hart, Shane Hawk, Brandon Hobson, Darcy Littlebadger, Conley Lyons, Nick Medina, Tiffany Morris, Tommy Orange, Mona Susan Power, Marcy R. Rendon, Wabgashig Rice, Rebecca Roanhorse, Andrea L. Rogers, Morgan Talty, D. H. Trujillo, Theodore C. Van Alst, Jr., Richard Van Camp, David Heska Wambley Wyden, Royce Young Wolf, and Matilda Zeller. Read for you by Lisa Cromarty, Sheldon Elter, Shane Ghostkeeper, Maika Harper, Kaniehtiio Horn, Joelle Peters, Tara Sky, Elle-Máijá Tailfeathers, and Erin Tripp.
Compilation copyright 2023 by Shane Hawk and Theodore C. Van Alst, Jr. All stories were first published in Canada and the United States in Never Whistle at Night and are published by permission of the authors. Collections copyright 2023 by Amber Blaeser-Wardzala. Night Moves copyright 2023 by Andrea L. Rogers. The One Who Killed Us copyright 2023 by Brandon Hobson. Limbs copyright 2023 by Wabgashig Rice. Eulogy for a Brother Resurrected copyright 2023 by Carson Faust. TikTok copyright 2023 by Cherie Dimaline. Navajos Don't Wear Elk Teeth copyright 2023 by Conley Lyons. Snakes Are Born in the Dark copyright 2023 by D. H. Trujillo. The Scientist's Horror Story copyright 2023 by Darcy Littlebadger. Sundays copyright 2023 by David Heska Wambley Wyden. Uncle Robert Rides the Lightning copyright 2023 by Kate Hart. Heart-Shaped Clock copyright 2023 by Kelli Jo Ford. Wingless copyright 2023 by Marcy R. Rendon. Dead Owls copyright 2023 by Mona Susan Power. The Prepper copyright 2023 by Morgan Talty. Quantum copyright 2023 by Nick Medina. Hunger copyright 2023 by Phoenix Boudreau. White Hills copyright 2023 by Rebecca Roanhorse. Scariest Story Ever copyright 2023 by Richard Van Camp. Human Eaters copyright 2023 by Royce K. Youngwolf. Kashtuka copyright 2023 by Matilda Zeller. Night in the Chrysalis copyright 2023 by Tiffany Morris. Before I Go copyright 2023 by Norris Black. Capgra copyright 2023 by Tommy Orange. Production copyright 2023 Penguin Random House Canada Limited. All rights reserved.
For Auntie Cheryl, we miss you dearly. And to her boys, Stone and Landon, love you. Shane Hawk.
For Amy, Emily, and Blue, Ted Van Alst, Jr. Forward. Written by Stephen Graham Jones. Read for you by Sheldon Elter. I can't deliver this as well as Joseph M. Marshall III did once upon a talk I went to. He's got that delivery that makes you listen. But I can rough it out. Anyway, someone's driving an empty road. Let's say this is the Dakotas, the Great Plains. All that grass, the land rolling up and down real slow. It's night, too. It's always night in these kinds of stories. I forget the setup, but not the final image. These four dudes on horses, booking it from here to there. Say, blasting out of this copse of trees, diving for a coulee or something a couple 100 yards across the way. Their chests to their horses' backs because you're less of a target that way. And this line between here and there, it takes them right through the edge of this driver's headlights. What? I imagine this driver saying. I think Marshall was relaying a story he'd heard, not one he was in, and kind of letting their foot off the gas so they can coast a bit, maybe convince themselves they're not seeing what they're pretty certainly seeing. 4 riders in traditional getup on painted horses going somewhere urgent at late 30 at night. I'd probably take my foot off the accelerator as well and lean forward, shaking my head no, that this isn't really happening, that this can't be happening, or if it is, this has to be a joke, or some Scooby-Doo situation, or some kind of night shoot for a film. The way Marshall told it, though, which I'm guessing is the way it was told to him, was that it most definitely was happening. These riders were booking through that darkness, looking to duck into another. Then, when it got to be time for them to cross the road, this car was making its way down, and this was the part I leaned forward in my auditorium seat to soak every bit of this in, was worried about, since horseshoes on blacktop can be ice skates, especially at speed. Instead of thundering up and over, these horses and their riders, they slip through the road, and then... Okay, I don't remember the rest. My guess is that those riders got where they were going, blipped away, and maybe the driver, or Marshall for us, was able to cast them as players in this or that thing that happened a century and more ago, and knit it back to now. Cool. Great. Wonderful. What stories like this do for us is make the world just a smidge bigger, yes? We now have to expand the borders of the real to allow for, say, 2 timelines to simultaneously exist. No, not just exist, but intersect. To make that a horror story, though, to make it horror, then I think one of those riders needs to look back at the driver in that car, which would mean this is going a touch further than just intersection. There's recognition now. You, the driver, have been seen, and, who knows, maybe that means you're officially an interloper now, and that's when stories start to get complicated and good. So, to keep on with the horror version of this, the driver coasts past, audibly locks all 4 doors of their car, and then accelerates into the safe night, only for a painted horse and rider to suddenly be standing in the road before them. Or maybe that driver, leaning down to dial a late-night show in on the AM, catches a shape in their rearview mirror. That painted rider is in their back seat now. At which point, we have to decide whether this driver's native or not, yeah? If not, then no, you don't want to see someone in traditional getup suddenly and wrongly in your back seat, because you know some justice is probably coming for you. There's not a lot of room to swing a war club in the tight confines of a car, but I bet there's enough room. If the driver is native, though, then maybe this is a team-up. Maybe this is the origin story of the comic book drama about to spool out for 50 issues. You and this warrior from back when settling some certain scores. That's not horror, though. That's fantasy. No, for the horror version of this where the driver's native, I think what they need to see in the rearview mirror when they look, it's not a shape they don't recognize in the back seat. It's the paint on their own face that they can't account for. Generally speaking, Indians are pretty nervous about possession narratives, since those are more or less stories about a body being colonized, which we know a thing or two about, but the way to twist that, it's to make the entity possessing you itself native, yeah? This can put a protagonist in a good bind, and then the story can go horror, as it's easy to be all down with the invaders, out with the settlers, fighting terrorism since...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?